I think Shades of Noir is extremely important development. I think it has changed as I thought it would change when it first started a few years ago, and it's become its own thing. That's what I feel, and I think that that's very important. It's gone into places that people wouldn't have thought that it would go in. And when I think about my own practice, which actually is a joint tutor lead on inclusive learning practice, Shades of Noir is essential to that, because it's a place for staff in a blogging task to go look at the site, think about it, unpack it, think about what it means to their practice. And it has been quite transformational to get people to think, because there are still people that are saying, I don't know any black photographers and I don't know any black fashion designers, and it's quite shocking. But I think actually once they start thinking about it and engaging in it, actually it is a really good place to go. And I think it's kind of matured, actually, Shades of Noir. I think it's turned into a lot of different things, and I think part of that has been the alumni involvement. Okay, I really think that's made a big difference, because I think it's students talking to students about it, and that makes a really, really big difference. And we still have the achievement gap that hasn't gone away. The recent things that have come out have shown that that's actually increased by 2%. But they may be trying to keep it quiet, but that is the case. So it's part of the response, but there's still so much more to do. And so I would see this as a key thing. University think it's very valuable, university think it's very important, but it needs, I think, to find a way to become much more integrated into the curriculum. I see the Shades of Noir now as in an advisory capacity, so it's a kind of place that you can take it and sort of troubleshoot. And actually it's come from a QA report that has said, how are you going to respond to this? So somebody within QA has said, well, Terry, can you come in and, what is it? So I just wrote, this is what we need to do, and, we need to bring Shades of Noir in. I have a meeting tomorrow, so let's see how that goes. But I do think it's trying to get as close as you possibly can to courses. I think it's great to think about it generally. I think it's great as a concept, as a space, a resource of people, as well as, visual representations, all of that, but actually using it as a tool to bring in and sort of question what goes on courses, I think is very important. I think it's, to me, actually, that is the next stage of it. I think ownership is really important, and I do think bringing alumni into the frame on this and getting the alumni to talk to other students, or students to talk to students about this, actually makes it very exciting. When it first started, I said I thought it was really exciting, but I thought you don't know where it's going to go, because you set these things up and they can go in many different directions. But I do think it still has a sort of a political edge, which I think is important, and I still think it has a sort of radical edge. I wouldn't want it to lose that, and I think it's something about continuing to question, and I don't think that's going to stop. And I think just thinking about what we've just come out from, and Sonia Boyce talking about amnesia, we need to be thinking about, if we're talking about amnesia, about there are black artists and they went to art school and basically, they were there, rubbing shoulders with white artists. So where are they? Why aren't people talking about them? Where are they in the curriculum? So I do think this is something that needs to continue, and as new people come into it, it will take a different life. That's what I think. But I do think seeing it as a catalyst is very important, but it's moving on in different ways. So, and I think the ownership being shared, and the students and alumni having some say on how it can be used, and actually bringing alumni and students in to sort of co-create with staff as well. I mean, I'm talking about what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm not going in with students. Actually, maybe I should go in with students, but maybe that'll be the next stage. That actually it's sort of saying, it's seeing it as a very, very important resource for staff to start engaging with. And I can see that already with for the participants on the inclusive learning module, that suddenly they hadn't even thought about this, and suddenly they're engaging with it and looking at it, and sometimes they'll bring something to it and say, oh, it's not clear, and we want to search more and find things, which is great, but it's sort of starting to see it it's transformational, and then maybe it just needs to continue like that. So I don't think it's going away. It's not going away. It's going to develop in different ways. So I think very close ways. There's going to be another exhibition coming up at LCC, which is fantastic. That should be continued. But I think what should inform it, I'd like to see it being more kind of seen as a resource which can be co-created. So that means kind of working with students and alumni to produce something that actually you know, it fits back into the ownership, but fits very much into, well, I'm studying, you know, on a BA creative direction. What, you know, where does that look? How can I put something onto that site? I think it's also important to think about how you can add to the site and how you can see it as a sort of as something that is organic. I definitely see it as something that's organic, that's growing, and you know, who knows what's going to happen in a few years' time as far as technology is concerned. We might be moving into, you know, much more different kind of realm, and so it's kind of thinking about how we can continue to use this and make it as fresh as possible. But, you know, linked to the curriculum, linked to staff, linked to getting staff to stop and reflect a little bit on their own practice, but also see it as something that actually is a tool that can help them.